Hey everyone, Joe Console here from Console Matison LLP and PhiladelphiaZoning.com. I'm a real estate attorney in Philadelphia. I also practice in New Jersey and outside of Philadelphia and other parts of Pennsylvania. Today I'm going to speak a little bit about how to create condominiums in the city of Philadelphia. Now, first, the important question to start off is, what is a condominium? A condo is an example of a shared, one building that's shared by multiple owners, meaning you can have one building with several different owners that own different parts of that building. For purposes of this discussion, we'll talk about it as if it's one building with four residential units in it that are going to be owned by different groups, different people, different LLCs. That's not all that a condo is. A condo can also be a commercial space that's owned by one company and residential spaces that are owned by other individuals or companies. But for today, we're going to talk about it as if it's just, we'll say, one building with four individual residential units in it. In Philadelphia, if you were deciding that you want to create a condominium, meaning you have a building that you want to break up into individual units and sell those individual units separately, there are a few preliminary steps that you have to take before you can do that. First, you have to understand whether or not your property is able to be a condominium. In order to qualify to be a condominium, you have to be either by right or have an approved variance for multiple units in a single building. So you can go back and look at my video on RSA 5 zoning versus RM1 zoning versus CMX2 zoning. But let's say, for example, you've got an RM1 zoned property that is appropriate for 4 rental units. Any RM1 zoned property that's appropriate for 4 rental units can also qualify for 4 condo units. So the number of condo units that you can get in any building is the same as the number of any rental units that you can have in that building. So back to our example with the 4 units. You have your residential building, and let's just say it's already built and it has 4 apartments in it, and you want to make these condos and sell them off. What do you do next? Well, you might already have building plans that you created for when you built the 4-unit building. You might not. Even if you do, those plans aren't enough to actually create the condo, because what's required for a condominium is to figure out not only what each unit owns, meaning how many square feet does unit A own, B, C, D, in our example with 4, but also you have to figure out how much common area there are in the building. So it could be that the entryway to the building is shared by all the units, or the basement is mechanicals or washer and dryers that all of these condo units are going to share. So you have to have architectural plans created specifically addressing the unique needs of a condominium association. A condo has, by definition, only one roof in the situation we're talking about. If you've got a 4-unit building with one roof, you have to figure out the different needs of the owners. If you're the top unit that has the roof directly above you, do you have more responsibility for the roof, or do all 4 units share in that responsibility equally? So coming up with a breakdown of the unit ownership and the common element ownership and reducing that to paper is not only required, but it also, if you think about it, makes sense when you're trying to think about what a condo is actually going to look like, because people have to be responsible for all of the building, and you need to determine the percentage responsibility for every piece of that building. So your architect comes out and creates a condominium plan, which will say the total square footage of the building is, say 3,000 square feet. Unit A has unique 500 square feet. B, C, D, we'll say they each have 5,000 or 500, and that leaves 1,000 extra square feet, which could be common elements, limited common elements. And we take that information and we create what's called a condominium declaration. This is the actual document that gets recorded with the city of Philadelphia to create these condos. You've got your architecturals, you've got the declaration. The next step is to get individual tax identification numbers, OPA numbers, for all of these condo units. So the OPA numbers are what allows you to sell the units individually. The property itself was once a 4-unit residential building. Now it's going to turn into 4 individual units in one building, each with their own unique tax number. So as your lawyer here, I would send over the declaration and the plans to the City of Philadelphia's Office of Property Assessment. They'd review it, and if they approve of what I did, would then send me back 4 unique tax numbers. From that, I could then create and file the complete declaration and create the other documents that are required to actually sell the condos, such as the bylaws, your pricing sheet, and there's a number of other documents that are required in a condominium sale. But I'm kind of just giving you an overview. So we've got the new tax numbers. We've got the declaration filed, which tells the city that any day now, me as the owner or the declarant of the condos is going to be selling these condos off individually. And I've got now the legal descriptions and the tax IDs that allow me to do that. So then I advertise these condos for sale, and each buyer will then be buying their individual units with whatever other responsibilities come along for those other units. And in the future, we could do series on bylaws and the intricacies that go into them, and several other things that might be more specific to you once you're actually in the process. But for now, just know if you own a building that's appropriately has multiple units, you can condo it out, and we could help you. And that's a way that a lot of folks find extra value in buildings. If they don't want to own a 3-unit building, but they believe it would have value as a condo, they could come to me and we could go through the steps required to create those condominiums, sell them off, and eventually exit the project with whatever extra value you were able to get out of it by creating these condominium units. And oftentimes, it's a good entry point for folks that want to buy in the city that don't want to own their own property or want to get into something with a little bit more value. Usually it's priced a little less because of the different things that come along with sharing a property with somebody else. Usually there's different levels of responsibility that come with these condos, and that's all stuff that we could talk about in the event that you wanted to move forward with something like this. Joe Console Matison, feel free to reach out. Have a good day.